So I just finished Hunter x Hunter. I just caught up on the manga. So we are going to discuss it today. Oh! So, yeah. Overall, do I like the series? Yes, I loved it. Towards the end, I wasn't really feeling it. I don't know if that's a hot take or whatever, but so I know it's not over, but the Succession arc was a lot of words. And I don't know, can you criticize a book for having too many words? You know? I don't know. Can you? I'm going to pull up a list of the arcs. And we will run through what I remember. There we go. Yeah, so it starts off real innocent and it gets bonkers. It is a very dark series. I mean, I don't want to say it's darker than Berserk or something like that, but it's very dark. I mean, it might be as dark, or I don't know about darker, but like the psychology of the characters is pretty dark. A lot of gray. Are there good guys and bad guys in Hunter x Hunter? I don't know. Are there in real life, though? I don't know. I don't think so, right? Maybe. Anyway, let's look at the arcs. Okay. The Hunter exam arc. Wait a sec. Before I say I wasn't feeling the end, what I mean was the Succession contest arc was a lot. And it's a lot of talking. I felt the same way about Greed Island arc. Which was cool, though. You know, it's cool and it's awesome to get, like, the rules and what everything's about. That's fun and all. But it's a lot to take in, and I did not fully comprehend a lot of it. I could not understand what was going on. Now, I know, even with the Nen stuff, their power system, it's not, like, as crystal clear as something like Yu Yu Hakusho was to me. Now, when I've watched some of the Hunter x Hunter anime, I think it's, like, beautifully described, like, when they talk about the Nen and the energy and stuff like that, and how different rules work. It's easier to understand. It's hard to understand in a comic book, especially if you're someone like me that's not good at comprehending that kind of stuff. So, all right, let's look at the Hunter exam arc. Gon goes to become a hunter, right? It was cool. I liked it. I never felt his character, like they say, the story's set up so that many different characters can become the main character. Like, there is no real main character, which I do understand. I loved Gon. The dynamic between Gon and Killua was different, because it's real, like, cutesy, oh, we're friends, and then Killua will come up and, like, rip somebody's heart out and, like, fully murder them with just, like, stone cold, no remorse, because he comes from an assassin's family. And it's like, okay, I thought they were, like, cute buddies, and then they're like, they, like, hardcore are looking out for each other, like, we gotta watch for Gon's mental health. And Kilo and Gon's the same with, I'll kill anyone for my friends. It's very dark. I wonder if that was done on purpose, though. I think it might have been, like, because they say it was, like, foreshadowed. There are major spoilers, so I'm going to give everything away 100% in this, by the way, if you haven't read it. Is it worth reading? Yes, 100%. Would I read it first before watching it? I should have watched it, honestly. Should have watched it. As I take my long drag from my Capri Sun box. This video is not sponsored by Capri Sun. But, I think the anime is something else entirely. Like Yu Yu Hakusho, they're both amazing. The manga is amazing. Do not get me wrong. This is a masterpiece, extremely detailed, thought out piece of work. I mean, and the dude labored over it. Tagashi labored over it intensely. I feel like you can feel that towards the end where it starts to drag. Not drag. So, like, a lot of people talk about the Succession arc is going to set up all this crazy stuff in the series, which I 100% believe, because at the very end, we'll get into this, but they gave a bit of a backstory on Crollo, and it was amazing. It was probably the most amazing thing for me in the whole manga. It was really incredible, talking about the origin of the Phantom Troop and the spiders, right? What did I say? I don't know. And that was really powerful. I felt like, wow, like there's so much more for this story. There's so much more to happen and to be explained and stuff. But there is a page at the end where it's like, we have decided this will not be released on a weekly basis. Now, I'm a noob to all this, kind of. As a kid, like, I read the first volume over and over again. When I got back into manga, this was the first thing I picked up and read, was Hunter x Hunter. So it does mean a lot to me, 100%. I don't like talking bad about it, but I'm just going to be honest about how I felt while I was reading it. A lot of explaining. Greed Island was like, they're talking about the cards, what they do. I personally didn't feel like there was enough showing what the cards did and stuff like that. I'm sure in the anime that's totally different. So, alright, Hunter exam arc. Gon wants to set out, meet his dad. That's awesome. It's exciting. There's a massive world. They're hunters. They're looking for stuff. They can do whatever. Lots of greed, right? Like, the first thing is, that's the whole point of a hunter. Whatever they want, they can go hunt for. You know, they can go look for it. So Gon wants to meet his father. That's the whole point. Does that get lost? No, but it doesn't seem like the main... I mean, I can't even say that. They do talk about it a lot, about meeting his father. So I can't say that. However, every different arc feels like a different manga series. Like some stuff's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Some stuff's like a mystery case closed kind of thing, somewhat. You'll soon discover I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm just telling you how I feel. So, Hunter exam arc is cool. Obviously, I mean, I'm not going to rate them, but I would give that, like, I can't not give it, like, a 10. I don't know. I think it's awesome. Zoldyck family mini arc, if that's how you even pronounce it, of Killua's backstory. I'm going to pronounce a lot of names wrong, by the way, just because I read and don't take the time to figure stuff out. That one, I didn't like. I thought it was stupid. It was very dark. I don't like saying stupid. I can't shit on this dude's masterpiece. Let me just rephrase by saying Yu Yu Hakusho, I think, is the greatest manga written piece of work. I think it's the greatest. I got my hoodie on. I don't think Hunter x Hunter compares with that. I think it was made to be just like a never-ending massive story, though, right? Like, not a specific destination. Whereas Yu Yu Hakusho was more of like a compact thing, even though it did dwindle out at the end. Yeah, Hunter x Hunter isn't even finished, you know? I love Hunter x Hunter. I can't stress this enough. Alright, whatever. Heaven's Arena arc was good and then awesome. Like when, I think that's when Gon fights Hisoka, right? Yeah, that was an amazing fight. The anime version is sick. But there's not a lot of fights in the series, you know? And a lot of people complain about that. Which I do wish there was more, because the action is awesome. Like when he, spoiler again. Well, if there's all spoilers, we're gonna spoil everything. At the end, not the end, but Hisoka fights Crollo, and that is like one of the coolest manga things I've ever read. And you can read it in color online, which I didn't know, which I wish I did, because like I was just going through the chapters the other day and like went to that fight and stuff, and I was like, oh my gosh, the color stuff is just makes it so much better. It really does, because the black and white still really, I mean, I don't want to say it kicks American comics ass, but you know, the black and white stuff is just sick. And just to see it colored is amazing. I mean, I think it'd be unstoppable if it was in color. I think you'd have magazines in our bookstores, you know, like Shonen Jump and stuff, different manga magazines. Anyway, yeah, Hunter exam, you start to see it get dark. Hisoka's chopping up people with cars. People are dying around Gon. He doesn't really care. He's like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't think he really cares, you know. A little weird. Everyone in this story is a little weird, but I think it's like that on purpose. Zoldyck family mini arc, very weird. They keep Killua, a kid, chained up for I don't even remember. I don't know, because he left or something. Heaven's Arena arc is a yeah, they fight. I'm mixing everything up. They fight people. Alright, I'm not going to cut this part out, just so you know. I'm for real. That I don't know what I'm talking about. 100%. Yeah, Heaven's Arena was after the exam, the Hunter exam. Right? And they need money and stuff? Yeah, alright. York New City. Everyone freaks out about York New City. I liked York New City a lot. It was awesome. This whole series, there's a lot of explaining. They're always explaining something, and that kind of wore me down, honestly. Because he's like, your nen can go backwards, but if you bend your head backwards, you'll see this guy go that way, and that guy go this way. It was like a lot of like real intricate talk about stuff, you know. York New is really exciting though. I love, like, I don't like when they make other characters the main character, like how Kurapika or Kurapika, however you pronounce his name, was the main character. Now I say that I loved that character; it was awesome, right? But I loved that Gon and Killua were still in like the background. Okay, I didn't like towards the end how they're not in the picture. I don't think that's smart, honestly. Not, I can't criticize. This is a great piece of work, and it was awesome that they weren't. And I understand they're building out different things. I get it. Look, I'm a builder too, but yeah, York New City was awesome. But this all starts off very happy and just gets very, very dark. It gets super dark. So Greed Island, we're still going. We're getting darker and darker. All right, cool fight at the end of that. Gon versus the bomber guy. That was cool, you know. I did enjoy the cards, and talking about it, it made me think of like Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, like that felt like a Yu-Gi-Oh. A Yu-Gi-Oh. What's it called? It felt like a Yu-Gi-Oh. It felt like Yu-Gi-Oh. Then you find out they're not in a video game. I didn't like that. I wanted it to be more. I wanted it to be like more like a video game. You know, that was kind of upsetting. But what are you gonna do? Next was how do you pronounce this? Chimera. I think that's it. Chimera Ant arc. This is the greatest arc in the series. I mean, I think everyone kind of acknowledges that. It's very long. Once again, there's a lot of explaining who's in what room. I don't necessarily care who's in each room. However, I think in the explicit directions of everything, it had to have helped the adaptation. You know, I've watched like most of the fights in the anime, and I obviously I think that's why the anime is so crystal clear with everything. Yeah, this arc was a masterpiece, 100%. And looking back, everything is a building block into the next. As I'm going through them, talking shit or airing my grievances, you know, I really did love the whole thing. Saying there's too many words in a book, who am I? I'm no scholar. So, the coolest thing about that arc, the Chimera Ant arc, Miriam is probably like the coolest bad guy. He's terrifying, you know, and he has a super cool design. I mean, he's pretty much Cell from Dragon Ball Z. But did Cell play chess or whatever it's called? It's not even chess. I don't even know. Whatever. But this character Kamugi, who's like a girl with snot coming out of her nose, who he like gets to play this game with. I was like, what the hell is going on? But then throughout the arc, everything just starts to make sense. He gets a little more human. The monster gets a little more human. The humans get a little more monstrous. You know, I haven't taken time to really reflect on how, if this is like a social commentary or anything like that. Because I just took everything kind of for what it was. And it's like a grand adventure. It really is a crazy, super smart story with twists and turns every couple pages. But it requires your attention. You can't just breeze through it. So I caught myself breezing, then I have to go back, reread stuff. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And all this stuff. Then came what I wasn't expecting, which everyone talks about. That, well, I was expecting because I had spoiled it for myself and read that Gon kind of becomes bad. Which he doesn't, I wouldn't say he's bad, but he loses it. And he, like, summons all this power. I'm still confused. Did Jing, his father, give him the power? Like, I don't get it. Because I thought his father did say, like, didn't you ask for this or something? Later in the series when he loses all his Nen abilities, but he does get revived. He destroys Neferpitou, I think that's the name. Who is a creepy character. With, like, they're all afraid of her, like, aura. It fills up the rooms. And that character's weird. It's definitely creepy. Like, it has this beast, it's Nen beast ability or whatever. It like it's like this big nurse, and it has like little needles and repair stuff. It's very weird. And the one girl, Kamugi, or however you pronounce her name, she got whacked with a concrete or something, and pretty much dies, and she gets real injured. And then Neferpitou, for Miriam, the main bad guy, she feels she has to save this little girl. Neferpitou is like super evil, running around destroying everyone. Chops up the dude from the beginning, Kite, Gon's father's what's it called? Like taught him everything he knew or whatever. And she's sitting there holding his head at one point, and you're like, oh, that's not good. You know, that had to have been not good. So Gon freaks out, decides to sit next to her, and is like, yeah, sure, fix the chick, but after, you're going to fix my boy. And then at the end, she's like, look, he's dead, which is obvious. I mean, they just like laying on the ground, right? I don't know. Well, he becomes like a puppet. Dude, this series is dark, like occult. So it is very dark. Everything is like spells and like possessed, but it's like darker than usual. It's like darker than Harry Potter. I'm like, where? Because it's hard to look around in a story and see positive. Like, where is the light? Where are the good guys? Now, if you look at the anime, that seems to be much more clear, right? I think there is a lot of like happy times. This is pretty dark. I mean, it's funny and awesome. It's a dark story. Yeah, Chimera Ant arc is legendary though. You need to read the whole thing if you're going to read Hunter x Hunter at all. You can't stop after the Hunter exam and think you know what's going on. Like, you need to just keep going because it's super interesting. But you need to pay attention. You need to take everything in, take it slow, digest it. Watch videos on YouTube, like explanations. Like, I was watching a Succession contest arc explanation this morning just to try to get a grasp on it because I was like blowing through it. I'm like, yo, I don't know what's going on. There's princes. They want to kill each other. They can't kill each other. So they got to get other people to kill them. Okay. I was more excited for like the Dark Continent. I wanted to get to the Dark Continent. I didn't know it just stopped there. I was real excited for that to see what happens next. Gon is at home, which is very upsetting, you know. But so where are we at? Chimera, and yeah, that is the wildest thing in the story, probably. I mean, that was really something. Okay, after... So, it took Togashi 8 years to make that. So, I don't like sitting here talking about, like, oh, this one sucked. You know, it took the dude 8 years of his life to make it. So, like, when you apply that knowledge to the story and, like, slow it down and really go through it, it's amazing. Especially that he was in pain, you know, making a lot of this stuff. The, like, big... So there's a lot of building to certain moments throughout the whole thing. And those climax moments in this book are nuts. Like, they're so good. The greatest in manga. The systems are super intricate. When I go into comments and YouTube videos, people are, like, discussing the Succession arc and everything, and I am lost. I have no idea what they're talking about. But... it's cool that there's so many big fans and people that have gone like super deep into it, you know, which maybe one day I will. But 13th election arc. 13th election arc. I just burped. How do I feel about that one? I don't know. It was like, it reminded me of like the Zoldyck one. I was like, that was an arc. It was like a bunch of people talking about... Oh, I didn't talk about the fight with, what's the chairman's name? Hunter chairman name. Netero or something? What's his name? Netero, yeah, I was right. Or Netero, I don't know how to pronounce it. But, when he fought Miriam, that was sick. And that's, by then, it's like, who's the bad guy and who's the good guy? Miriam's like, it's all good. Like, you know what? I'll take care of everyone. Kind of. And Nita's like, nah, I'm going to self-detonate and blow you up. Alright, so Nitro, 13th election arc, Gon's dad appears. That was wild. Like when he's just like casually pops in as part of the Zodiac crew or whatever. And he's just like chilling. Like, they don't even like say anything. It's like, oh wait, that's Gon's dad. You know, is it Jing or Ging? I don't know. I think it's Jing. He's just like a dude. It's kind of a... I wouldn't say he's a dick, but he's a little goofy. And then like Leorio punches him with his ability, and then they survive. Oh, so the one before is so weird. Like Kilo's sister is like this demon that they keep locked in a room that can revive Gon, but only half. I don't know what it was. Like one of the personalities is good and the other one's bad, and the one like can bring Gon back to life, and then they save her or something. I don't know, but they did get Gon back to life. So I didn't talk about Gon annihilates Neferpitou, and it is brutal and horrible. It is so messed up. I'm like, whoa, okay, because like it's like usually good guy versus bad guy. Then it became good guy loses it, doesn't care. The bad guy is trying to do good, and then Gon just like blacks out. He doesn't care, and he just like he summons all the energy and just like destroys Neferpitou. That's the name, right? Am I screwing that up too? Yeah, and that was. I felt bad. It was just like, oh, this is not good. Now I get why people are like, whoa, that's a lot, you know. And Killua goes over, and Gon's like a 40-year-old dude, you know, in like little kid clothes, that's like jacked, ripped, and he has like all this demon energy. It's so weird. It is such a weird story. It really is very strange and unique, though. It is very weird. I was not laughing when I was reading this. I was stressed out. I was on vacation in Florida, and I wasn't stressed out, but I couldn't put the book down there. I just I read, I don't know, probably like half the series down there, and then I just finished it today. It took me a couple of days to finish like the last 20 chapters. I just like could not get through it. It's not slow. It's just hard to keep up with everything. Like if you don't stick to it from the beginning, you're gonna get lost. Okay. So that brings us to, I guess that's be the Dark Continent Expedition arc. I mean, I mixed that in with a Succession contest arc. I don't even remember the Dark Continent Expedition arc. Like, what even happens in that? Oh, this is about Beyond Netero, his son, which I don't even know. Jing joins Beyond's party while at the same time trying to hinder Pariston. And that dude, Pariston, you don't trust that guy. He's clearly has like some weird motives. Jing says him and they're kind of like on the same page a little bit. I don't know. I'm probably letting these down at the end talking about it. But Succession arc gets to a bit of a backstory on Frollo. Yeah, I barely talked about like the Phantom Troop. Frollo is awesome. Okay, so in the anime, in the York New City arc, when the Zoldyck assassins fight, I was watching the 90s one. When they fight Frollo, it's so sick. Like the atmosphere in the anime is amazing. The manga was crazy. The new one's like super accurate. The newer anime is super accurate. What a cool Frollo's, yeah, very bad. Now we get towards the end, right? The end is the backstory on Frollo is nuts. So he's like, I don't even know how to like explain it. There's like a videotape or something that's like the Power Rangers, like a parody of the Power Rangers. The Power Rangers in their world, and they're showing it to these kids, but they have to dub it, so they overdub it to make everyone have fun, like so they can understand it, and everyone loves it. He becomes like a hero. The one dude, is it Uvo? The one dude was the guy that Kurapika kills. The first spider he kills was like the oldest spider when they're growing up, and he becomes like he like admires Frollo because they I don't know, he admires Frollo because he dubbed this video. It was just like a very random heartwarming story. However, the one girl in their friend group gets brutally murdered. It's horrible. So like it starts off like real sweet, and then it gets super dark, and you see like the origin of the Phantom Troop, which lots of gray in the story where they're the bad guys, right? They were responsible for killing Kurapika's clan, right? And they get the Scarlet Eyes. But we don't know the backstory of that. That was never, I don't think that was put out. But then you, like, Togashi to put this Chrollo backstory in here super late is pretty big because it, like, peels back the onion. It goes behind the scenes. It shows you, like, there's more to these characters' motivations than them just being good or evil, you know. Then you got someone like Hisoka. I don't think you could show any backstory that remotely, like, gives that guy justice. He is a psycho. I won't even get into it, but he's a weird dude. Yeah. Let's talk cool moments. Ugh. The cool moments from the story. There are a ton. I probably hit most of them. When I think back, the fights were obviously, like, the coolest. Like, the fight. And I don't even think of myself as, like, oh, I like the action. But they really were really interesting. Hunter exam was awesome. I have reflux. That's why I'm always, like making noises and shit. Hisoka versus Gon was sick. The Phantom Troop versus the Zoldyck or whatever. There's so many fights in, like, the Chimera Ant arc. I can't even think of them all. But favorite fight was probably Hisoka versus Chrollo. That was super cool. I'm just gonna spoil it. Like, Hisoka dies, and dude, they show this picture of him that is just so. Let me pull it up. It is so creepy. I was like, what the hell? Like, I turned the page and was like, this is brutal. Not turn the page, because I think I know I did read the book. Here's the picture. Oh my gosh. I think I'll turn this around. Yeah. You see that? It was so creepy. I laughed. I was like, no. I was like, even though he's so bad, I don't know why. Like, you still don't want the dude to die. I don't know why. But he revives himself and then kills 2 of the spiders. So, but then you get the spider backstory, and all of a sudden they don't seem as evil and horrible as everyone said. You know, it's like, oh, they're doing their thing too. So Hunter x Hunter is just like this dark world that people just get sucked into, and they start off like real kind. And then, I don't know, like, they get hellbent on, like, revenge and all kinds of things. And I guess that is, like, about life, you know, people get sucked into certain things, like the occult, greed, you know, their desire, their I say goals, like, all kinds of stuff like that. Now, I didn't read the endings. I'm going to see if I can glance at them while I'm doing this video. We will see. Hunter x Hunter alternate endings. I know Togashi released a couple, right? Let's see. I'll have to check these out. I'll probably do a separate video on them. So people say they don't think this will ever be finished. I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the state of Togashi. I don't like saying Togashi like I know the guy. Yu Yu Hakusho is just the greatest thing ever. I still never read Level E. I would love for there to be like translations of his early work. I would read all of it, you know, because my favorite thing in Yu Yu Hakusho was like the rom-com aspect. Now there was like 0 of that in Hunter x Hunter, and I feel like that was such a strength of Togashi was like the rom-com aspect. You know, I feel like that really is a strong point. Hunter x Hunter is a very dark, brutal story, for sure. So Togashi states that if he passed away before finishing the series, that'd be its ending, and apologizes in advance. So that is not a good thing to hear at all. Now, I haven't looked into it. Did he just do that because You know what I mean? Like, because he's like, wow, this story's gonna take a lifetime that I don't like. There's just being like the next, like, I don't know. You could have a long time left and just be like, I don't think I could do it. I know he's really sick. I don't know. I'll have to read this. But I hope there's a way to figure it out, even if it's just like written or something, or someone else draws it. People talk about Tagashi's artwork. I loved it. Like, I loved the whole thing. I thought it was perfect. People are like, oh, the artwork sucks. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Like, sometimes it's simple, but I get that. Like, dude is spending his entire life making this thing. You know, like, there is going to be simple. If you can do shortcuts and still, like, get the message across, go for it. But when it counts, it counts. And you know what I mean by that if you read it. Like, he's so skilled. He can make something absolutely terrifying. Just like you turn the page and you see a face and you're like, whoa, that's creepy. Which I think I can pull that up. Whoa, that's creepy. Hisoka face creepy. Let's see if I can pull that up and show you that. Yes, this face. When I turned the page, I freaked out. I was like, what is this? Oh my gosh. Which is the creepiest panel from Hunter x Hunter? That's what someone said. If you can see that face right there. That was super... I turned the page and it was like, oh my goodness. Yes. Very dark. And I'm rooting for this guy all of a sudden. I'm like, what? Strange story. Very strange. I did love it. I am going to watch the anime 100% and get like a more clear understanding. Maybe I'll go back and reread some of the arcs, you know. But the whole thing's awesome. What a piece of work. What a piece of fiction. The characters are all crazy. Right when you think you know them, you don't. You know. I would like more Gon, if possible. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all my thoughts for it. And sorry if that was like a half-assed review, but that's all I'm capable of, honestly. Thank you for watching this, and peace. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.